Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining the session today. We are going to start in just a moment. Alexandros, who is actually going to be leading the session for you guys today, is already here with us. So, Alex, whenever you're ready to start, let's go for it.
All right. Thank you very much, Vaida. Just let me check a second because I'm trying to open my video, but I'm getting a small error, so it should work now. Do you see me?
Yes, all good.
Okay, great. So hello, everyone. My name is Alexandros, and I'm the Partnership and Grants Manager at Unit Masters. And today I'm going to, talk to you about, of course, wallets, what kind of different wallets there are, how to manage your own keys, let's say. And we're also going to open our own wallets together, let's say. So let me share my screen. Please tell me once you see my screen and everything. Do you see it? All right, great. Just a second. How do I close that? Okay, cool. So, as I said, we're going to see how does a wallet work, how to manage your keys, what are the different wallets, really briefly, and how to install your own wallet. So, how a wallet basically works? It's this software device that allows you to to create your own wallet, as I said, and store. You have kind of like a blockchain address there, which stores your money, which stores your cryptocurrencies. And the way that it basically works is that you have the private key. This is automatically generated once you open the wallet for the very first time. Your private key is automatically generated for you. It is basically unique as a number, so there is no other number like this one. Then the private key is being used in order to generate the public key. This is done through cryptography, and these are, let's say, the cryptographic technology SHA-256 and RPMD-160 that is being used to create the public key. And then the public key is again hashed by SHA-256 two times to create, and base 58 to create your address. And within this address, basically, you can basically take your receive money and send money from your address, basically. So it's as I said, it's a randomly generated number, and it allows you to authorize the spending or receipt of crypto. And how it basically happens is that whenever you send someone the money, you use a digital signature. You kind of have to confirm this. And when you create your wallet, you also create what is called a seed phrase, let's say, right? These are, depending on the wallet, either 12 words that you have to note them somewhere down, or 24 words. We will see that afterwards. And you use these words in order to think of them a bit like your password, right? In some ways, as to being able to log into your bank account, if that makes any sense, right? So, and to make it a bit more understandable, think your public key as your bank account number, right? Like, let's say IBAN, international bank account number. And then you also have the private key, which is basically a bit like you use it in order to authorize transactions. This is like, I suppose this is one of the most complicated parts. If anyone has questions here, I would like to take questions. Like if you have any questions on this, and then we can quickly go to the next part. Vaida, could you help me with the questions if there are any? Vaida? Okay, I'm not sure if Vaida is with us or has Maybe she has some connection problems, but I can perhaps take a look at the chat like this and see if there are any questions. Do you have any questions? No, I don't see any questions. So we can perhaps continue as well. And all right. So besides as to how it basically works, we also have different types of wallets, right? So some of them are hosted wallets. These are wallets where the private key and the key management is done by other people, let's say Binance, Coinbase. These are, let's say, think of them as crypto banks. So basically you give them their money, they manage it for you. And they also host, let's say they have the password, that 12 or 24 word password, which they can use to enter and manage your money within their own wallet, basically. Because when you send the money or you put the money on such an exchange, you basically send the money to them, right? And they kind of manage it for you, as I said. Then there are web wallets. These are, let's say, Exodus and Metamask. We can see here the Fox and Exodus. These are wallets that you can use basically on your browser, and they are the easiest to use. They are free to open. We're going to open one afterwards for you to see. Then you have desktop wallets, which are, let's say, sort of like an application or a program that you can also download. Some of them can also, mix as well. You can have a desktop wallet, which has a version of a web wallet as well. So they can kind of mix as well. So a desktop wallet, it's sort of like an application. Let's say you download Microsoft Office or something like this, and it's a bit similar to it. You just download it and you can use it. Then you have mobile wallets. These are applications, again, like, you can go to Google Play or the Apple version of this, and you can download an application. This can be, again, Metamask has also a mobile wallet. Exodus has a mobile wallet, I think. Trust has one as well. And then you have hardware wallets. These are the Engrave here and Ledger. Like first, I also want to give a small shout out that we're not being sponsored by any of these companies. These are just for educational purposes, right? So with hardware wallets, what happens is that you have your own keys, just like with desktop wallets, mobile wallets, and web wallets, right? And what happens is that you have the password in order to access your money, and you manage it yourself instead of giving it to Binance, to Coinbase, or to someone else. And then you have paper wallets. This is not going to be covered, let's say, in this session, but it's basically for Bitcoin ATMs. So they're not that popular, but maybe once in your life, sometime you will see sort of like a Bitcoin ATM, and they kind of give you paper wallets, which you can then use to spend your money, but they're not very prevalent as the other ones. So one of the things that we have to kind of get to know is that when you have your wallets, let's say in an exchange, as I said, Binance, FTX, as you probably have heard recently, they manage your own wallet. And this means that, there are a lot of risks that you put yourself in, right? Some of them are that they can be fraudulent, just like with FTX. In this case, they can be hacked. Like, for instance, Binance has been hacked. Mt. Gox, which is was the biggest exchange in the world, Bitcoin exchange in the world, was hacked, and they stole, I think, 500,000 Bitcoin or something like this. But that happened back in 2014, 2015, and privacy as well, because what they can do is, if they're asking you for information, let's say your ID or something, they can use it to steal your, identity. And as I said, someone else keeps your funds. Same from attacks. This can be, this is a risk. And you also have, you trust someone else not to steal your funds and disappear if it is a shady exchange, like, for instance, FTX was, right? like regulated exchanges, let's say Binance, for instance, theoretically, Coinbase would not do something like this because they have much more to lose by doing this than to gain, I suppose. But of course, at the same time, you never know. So this is something that you have to know, that keeping your money on exchanges is the most risky thing that you can do. And so there is also this saying in the crypto community, not your keys, not your money, right? So you use your keys to manage your money, and you should have it within your own device, whether that's a digital device or whether that's a physical device, instead of giving it to someone else. But if you do decide that you want to use Binance for some reason, first of all, do not put a lot of money there. Well, Binance or any other exchange, right? Do not put a lot of money there because of all these risks, of course. And always add a two-factor authentication so that you know that, of course, if someone tries somehow to hack or decide or somehow gets to know your password or something like this, you get an email where someone asks you, where it kind of says that someone is trying to get into your account, yes or no, is it you? And if it is, of course, not you, you say no, and you're done. So this is also a nice way of making sure that your security, well, you maximize the security within an exchange. Then you have web wallets and mobile wallets. So I put them together in the same category because, you know, they're interlinked most of the times. There are certain pros with them, like, you know, you have easy access to your money, to your coins. It's good for day-to-day transactions. It's really easy to make a transaction if you want to send to someone money, if you want to buy something with cryptocurrencies. You know, if your mobile device or even your laptop or something would be stolen, then as long as, you know, they have this mnemonic seed, as long as they do not have this 12-word mnemonic seed phrase, they will not be able to enter and get your money, basically, right? Some high risks of this is that you can get phishing attacks. This is basically someone sending you an email and saying, hey, connect your wallet here. Once you connect it to that, well, if you click on that link and connect your wallet, then they may be able to steal your money. So that's one thing that you should be aware of, because then they may get in different ways access to your private keys. When it comes to also, you know, security, let's say you're in front of cameras or in front of other people, when you basically use a password or something like this, you should hide it in case, of course, you know, this is quite logical, so that people do not use the password to get into your money, in the same way that you use, let's say, your bank account and you do not allow people to see your PIN code, for instance, right? That's something that you should also know. And, you know, also being aware that there are attacks such as SIM swaps that can be used in order to get, how do you call it, access to your private keys. So you kind of have to also be very diligent on how to store your keys and not allow people, let's say, to take advantage of the fact that you have poor management, security, and private and public key management. And now we go to cold storage, which is basically, as we see here, devices. And this is the best way of storing your crypto, right? Because your private key is generated entirely offline. It is, let's say, in some ways, a physical way of doing it. And no one can get access to your private key because it is offline, right? As we saw here, like as we saw in the previous examples, someone can hack an exchange, someone can do a lot of things to get access to your money. But with cold storage, this is not the case, basically, because you have your private key generated locally and offline, and no one can take it basically off of you, right? Unless you give it to them yourself. There are also other ways that basically, besides the pros, let's say, of generating the key offline, managing your own money yourself, there are certain cons because it's a physical device and there are certain costs associated with producing it. Of course, there is a price. I think the least expensive one that I have so far seen is 85 euro, and the most expensive one around 500 euro, well, or dollars, more or less, it's the same price now, right? And so this is kind of like the range that I would say from cheapest to most expensive that I have so far seen. It's less convenient because, with a web wallet, you're just need to basically click once and send the money. And in other ways, but in cold storage, you have to connect it to your laptop, to your device, basically either through Bluetooth or through a USB device or in some other way, through a QR code. And this is less convenient than just clicking once and sending the money, of course, right? You should not lose both the device and your private key, because afterwards you will not be able to get access to your funds. And you should also beware of third-party resellers. You should always go to the website of the manufacturer, in this case, Ledger or Engrave or any other wallet, and buy it directly from them. Because a third-party reseller, if you go, let's say, to a small shop to buy it, if they offer it, you never know if they actually opened it and got the private key, right? If they have done that, you buy the device, they still have the private key. Once you put money in there, they will be able to use the private key to steal your money. So make sure that if you decide to buy cold storage, and I would recommend that, not to buy it directly from the manufacturer instead of buying it from a reseller. Well, now we're going to go and see how to install a wallet, but before that, are there any questions? Let me check the chats. Do you have any questions? Douglas asks, if I misplaced my recovery phrase and I'm not logged into it anywhere, I would just have to create a new wallet. Well, no, if you misplaced the only reason that you would have to create a new wallet would be if you entirely lose your recovery phrase, right? If you basically click and you write something, a wrong word or something, then you have still different tries, and you can, let's say you misspelled something, you can still use it in order to, well, you can just correct the mistake, add the right words, and you should be able to log in. Does that answer your question, Naja? Well, Aja does not. Then Reginald asks, if I get your presentation right, Web3 is a solution for convenience with regards to having a cold storage. Well, it's not, that's a good question. That's not, there is a matter of convenience, right? Because when you give someone else the risk of managing your money, it's much more convenient. So I see what you mean there. So you kind of manage convenience and risk. So if you have Binance managing your money, this means that you do not have to worry about it, although you still have to worry that maybe someone will hack Binance or any other exchange or do any of the other things in order to get your money back. But other than that, it is convenient, of course, to have just someone else managing your money, if this is what you mean. Then you have the web wallet, which is more convenient than a cold wallet. So yes, there is I would not say that it is only about convenience. It's also about centralization and decentralization, because centralized exchanges, like we saw with FTX, they are also prone to corruption, as we saw with what happened. So it's always about also centralization and decentralization. Decentralization eliminates the risk of corruption, although it increases, let's say, decreases convenience, because you have to manage your own money. And in a centralized way, what happens is that it's much more convenient for you to manage, for someone else to manage your money, but they can get corrupted. And like with FTX, as you probably guys all heard recently, many people lost a lot of money. I think there were between 5 to 10 billion. I'm not sure exactly how much, because they first said 5 billion, then they said 6, then 8, then 10. So yes, I don't know if that answers your question. I hope it does. What other questions do we have here? Are there any other questions? Jenna asks, can we transfer funds from current from the mobile wallet to the cold storage? Yes, this is something that you can do, because let's say you have within your web wallet, you have, let's say $100, and you want to send them to your cold wallet. You just use the public address of your hard wallet. You enter it in your web wallet. You click send, how much money you want to send, and it is basically sent. Which wallet is more convenient for a beginner? Well, that's from Miracle Amarachi. I would say, well, the most convenient, as I said, is probably an exchange. But then again, you have to manage the risk that the exchange can get corrupted, can get hacked by someone else. They can steal your money. Let's say if it's a shady exchange and no one knows who's behind it, if it's not regulated, if it has any kind of backdoors. So it is convenient in the sense that, you have your money there. The only thing you need to do is, just like with Facebook, you enter your email, you enter your password, and you click login, and you get access to your funds. But as I said, you have these kinds of risks, right? So that would be one, the most convenient. Second most convenient would be a web wallet, and then the cold storage, right? But remember that as long as let's say from an exchange to web wallet to perhaps even, how do you call it, cold storage, you decrease convenience, but you increase security as well, right? So it's also like a trade-off between security, decentralization, and how do you call it, and convenience. Mutairu asks, what if a cold wallet is misplaced? Can I still recover my funds? What do you mean by misplaced? Like you cannot, no one can hack your cold wallet. So because everything is, well, because the private key is offline, so there is no way for them to actually hack it like they can hack an exchange. So from that perspective, no. So the only thing you have to do with a cold wallet is make sure that you have this 12 word key phrase, and you do not lose it, because if you lose it, you will lose access to your funds. Hosted wallet are called custodial. Yes, you can, Victor Kaim. Yes, you can call them hosted or custodial as well, right? Because, well, it depends, of course. There are people that use different terms because it's also quite a new industry, so people use different terms. There are no, let's say, universal way of saying, let's say, custodial or hosted or an exchange, let's say, right? So there are different ways of defining it. So if you're speaking with someone about it, make sure that you don't understand if they're talking about a self-managed wallet or an exchange, to make sure that you're on the same page and ask them, is it, what do you mean by whatever they say, right? Is it on an exchange? Is it a cold storage, or is it web wallet, right? So that's something that you should be able to, how do you call it? Make sure that you define well when you speak with someone. Tanin asks, what is cold storage? I have never heard of this terminology. So this is, as I said, as we saw here as well. Let me share my screen one last time. So Tanin, this is a cold storage. Like, this is called a cold wallet, cold storage, self-custodial wallet. There are different ways of calling it. Maybe you've heard of it in different ways, but it's basically a device. It looks like a little bit like a like a USB, or in this case, like a small GPS, as you see in these two examples, but they're not a USB and they're not a GPS. Of course, it's a wallet, and it has your private key, and it has an address or different addresses depending on the cryptocurrency, and you can basically send money to it and receive money besides other things. And the key thing is that your private key is stored offline, so no one can hack it, no one can steal it unless you give that 12-word phrase to them. So what I would now suggest is I'm going to show you how to create a wallet, so that you can kind of also see how it works. Just a second. So here, let's go on Google. I hope you see my screen. So we're going to install Metamask. I think it is the most popular wallet, but it's just for, for demonstration purposes. You go on Google, you write Metamask. The first thing that comes up is this, right? This is the website. Make sure that whenever you go on Metamask, you go through Google and that it says metamask.io, because there are times that people, especially during bull markets, when the prices go up, people use advertisements and everything to create very similar websites. And they would ask you, let's say, to connect your wallet or something like that, and then they will be able to steal your money or anything else. So please make sure that whenever you go to these, you make sure that it's said metamask.io and not metamask.com or metamask.org or anything else that there might be, basically, right? So you go to download, and then you can see, you have iOS, you have Android, you have Chrome. Install MetaMask for Chrome. You click here. You go to Chrome Web Store, and it says, well, add to Brave, because I'm using a Brave browser instead of Chrome. But if you have Chrome, it will probably say add to Chrome instead of Brave, right? So you click on this. It says add extension. We wait a little bit, and we're here. So now it says, welcome to MetaMask. It's here, if you guys see it. Access requested. You click on this, and basically you have MetaMask here. You can click here and see it in a small screen, or in this case, it's a big screen. You click get started. I would recommend you also to pin it, because it's easier to access than just going here all the time to do the same thing, right? You go on get started, then it says help us improve MetaMask. You can say no thanks or I agree, right? Whatever you want, it doesn't matter, both work. You can read what kind of help they need, if you would like for you to help them. Probably it's to collect some data, so you can agree, or like if you're okay with sharing that data, you can say, I agree. If you're not okay, you can say, no, thanks. But both ways, you still get access to MetaMask, right? So here you have two things here. You have import wallet and create a wallet. Import wallet we use when we have the 12 or 24 word phrase. We will get to that afterwards, right? But because we're creating a wallet from scratch, you click create a wallet. Here you have a password that you can add. This is not the 12 or 24 word phrase that I'm talking about. This is sort of like a way for you, let's say whenever you will click here, instead of using the 12 word key phrase, you just use a password instead, which is much more convenient. So you just add a password. I will add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Please do not add something like this, because it's much easier to guess for someone if they get access to your laptop or to your device. This is just for demonstration purposes. Please add something that is a bit more difficult to guess. So you say, I have read and agreed to the terms of use. You can click on the terms of use if you'd like to read them, create. Here you will see basically a video. Whenever we're not going to watch it now together, but basically it explains what I said about private keys and public keys as well. I would recommend you to watch it again once you install it yourself, to watch it again as a reminder if you would like to. Next. And now here, I want you all to see basically this is the phrase that I was talking about, the 12 word phrase, which you use in order to get access to your MetaMask wallet. So let's say someone steals my laptop, right? And I have in my MetaMask, I have, let's say, $10,000, $100,000. I don't know how much, but let's say a lot of money, right? What happens is that I can, as long as they do not know the password, they cannot get into my MetaMask, right? But I can get to another laptop, to a friend of mine's, even if it is stolen, ask them to install MetaMask. And then instead of going create a new wallet, we go to the other option, which is basically import wallet. You add these 12 words and you get access to your wallet, which has the $10,000 or $100,000 or the money, let's say, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this on our Zoom, so that what I would invite you to do here as well is, what I would invite you to do here is also after the session, you can go to import wallet and use these 12 words to get access to my MetaMask here. I'm never going to use this wallet, so I don't really care, but it's a good exercise for you to understand that you have to protect this 12 word phrase. So I would suggest you write it somewhere and store it. That could be on a paper or on something much more sturdy that does not get damaged easily. You can create a number of different papers to write it, so that if you lose one, you have 2 more or 3 more or 10 more, and store them in different places. If you have a place where you store something that is very dear to you and you always remember where it is, I would also suggest to add this phrase whenever you add money, right? So that's for now. Now, if I go to next, what they're going to do is they're going to ask me to add this phrase again. But because, well, it will take a little bit more time, I would go with remind me later. But what I would suggest for you when you install it is to go on next and fill in this, fill in the phrase that you get. Each phrase is entirely unique, so, and entirely different from one another. So that's something that you should also know. So it's not that, let's say, if you have rack place, it's not that someone can have all these words and Scout can only be replaced with something else. All words are always different, and there is no way of just deleting one or two words and hoping to find another key or something like this. So you're also secure from that perspective as well, as long as someone doesn't know the whole phrase. And here you have your MetaMask basically wallet. You can send money. We do not have any money for the moment. You can buy. Let's say if you go and buy, you have different ways of buying cryptocurrency through Coinbase, Transact, MoonPay, Wire, or you can also directly deposit Ethereum in this case, right? Because it's an Ethereum wallet. You go view accounts, and this is your address, the public address, which is like your international bank account number. So you copy this on the clipboard, let's say, and whenever you would like to send to someone money, you go to send, you paste the address, and then basically what happens is that you can add 10, let's say, well, 10 Ethereum, or how much you have, maybe 0.5 or 0.01. Well, we don't have any, but I'm just showing you how it basically works, right? So you go here, you can see how much it is in dollars. Another thing is, if you are not, it's not convenient for you to measure with Ethereum or with Ether, you can use dollars, and you can say, okay, I want to send $10. How much is this in Ethereum, right? Or $100 or 1,000, right? So you kind of see here, 10,000 is 8 Ether, 8.39, 62 blah, 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 blah. So you do this, let's say, whatever the account is, you go on next. Then what happens is it will ask you to sign. And once you sign it, the money is sent to that address, let's say. And it normally takes, no matter where someone is in the world, let's say I can be in Belgium, which is in Europe, someone can be in Africa, someone can be in North America, someone can be in South America, someone can be in Asia, someone can be in the North Pole. As long as I send them the money, they should get it within a few seconds, maximum to a couple of minutes, instead of days or weeks that it normally takes to send money with a traditional bank, let's say. And also you have to kind of know if, let's say, someone would like to send you money instead, you can always click on here, the zero, you see 0687, this is your address. You click, copy on clipboard, copy it, and then you can go, let's say, to the chat that you speak with someone, or just copy paste them this address and they can send you money. It's either like this, or as I said, you can also basically do it with, not send, but you can basically go and buy, do direct deposits, ETH, view account, and you kind of see this, right? So then you can maybe take a screenshot of this QR code if it is easier for you for whatever reason, and send them the QR code, and they will be able to send you the money by scanning their own phone, by scanning it through their own device, or you can just take and copy this to clipboard, right? Also, another thing that you should also take into consideration is that you can also go here, right? And you can basically go on your, export private key, yes. So one of the things that you can also do is see, normally they had it here where I went to, but they have done some updates recently, so they have changed a few things. So that's why I'm trying to find the old things that they placed in a new way, let's say. So the show private key basically is, let's say you forgot what your private key is, which is basically those words, right? you can go, let's go again to buy, view account, export private key. You add the password that you had, in our case, 123456789 confirm. And you kind of see the private key here as well, which again, it's not normally if you take it, this is in binary. This is basically computer language that uses the very same 12 words. So you should also make sure that this is also, well, not also protected, but that no one gets your private keys through MetaMask here as well. Because if they are technical enough, let's say if they're a programmer, they will be able to still get access to it. This is more or less it. You can also go swap. And let's say if you have Ethereum, you have, let's say 10 Ethereum, you can use another token, another ERC, like Ethereum compatible token to swap your Ethereum for DAI, for instance, which is a stable coin, or for Curve or Sand or any other cryptocurrency, basically, well, crypto token. You can review the swap, and you can see here that 10 Ethereum would be this much Sand. And if we had the money here, you just click on swap, and it basically takes the transaction takes place. And instead of 10 Ethereum, then you would have 21,000.23 Sand instead. This is more or less it. I would like to take also a few questions if you guys have any about this. Let me go to the chat. Tina asks, can you explain the difference between cryptocurrency and crypto token? Yes, that's a good question, Tina. So a cryptocurrency is, let's say, how do you call it? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. These are, let's say, the native currency that is created for the blockchain, right? In case of Ethereum, it is Ether, as we saw. And a token is something that is built on Ethereum. So if you create another currency that is on the Ethereum blockchain, then it is an Ethereum token, right? You do not, it's technically you could still call it a currency, but the differentiation is that the currency is a native one that is on the blockchain, and the token is one that is not native to the blockchain, and you just build on top of it a new one, let's say. Does that answer your question? Okay. Do we get new account address in your wallet? What do you mean, Karthik? Do we get a new account address? Yes, every single time that you create a new wallet, at least if I understand correctly your question, every single time that you create a new wallet, you have an entirely different address that you send money, right? So you do not have the very same address. If we go and repeat the same procedure that we just created the wallet with, the address will be entirely different than the one that we just created. Is Sand stored in same Ethereum address? Yes, Karthik, because Sand is an ERC20 token. This means that it is built on Ethereum, so it will be stored in the same Ethereum address as well. Just make sure that the other person that sends it or receives it knows this, of course, as well, right? So that it's clear for both of you. Genna Jefferson, Alexandros, some people say how to have the money in different wallets. Is that advisable? Well, Genna, it depends on what you want to do. There are, if we're talking about, well, there are different ways that you can do this, right? If you have money, even if you have a cold storage where you have most of your money, which is how it is recommended to be done, and you have some money in on MetaMask or on an exchange, that is advisable, because, as I said, a cold storage cannot be hacked, so your money will never be lost unless you lose that 12-word phrase, right? Otherwise, how do you call it? So that is advisable because you have money in different wallets. Now, let me think maybe an example where maybe you would need to have two MetaMask wallets. This is good if you want to increase your privacy, of course, right? Because everything on the blockchain is public, so they cannot see, of course, let's say Jenna sent $10 to Alexandros, they can see this address, send this much to this address, right? But if you want to increase your privacy, then you can create every single time a new wallet in order to increase your privacy instead of using the very same one as well all the time. I hope this answers your question. When trading through a wallet, should I trade through a specific exchange? One Johi asks. First of all, I would not, I suppose, recommend trading, because this is not, the course isn't about trading, but more about transactions, how to send money, how to use Web3, to improve your life, right? So I would not use trading. If you would ask me for transactions, I would say it doesn't really matter which exchange you're using. The only thing I would say is make sure that it is one of the main ones, like Binance, like Coinbase, like Kraken, because they have been in the industry for forever. And the risk that they will scam you or they will take your money is very small, as opposed to perhaps an exchange that no one knows. No one knows their practices. No one knows if they're registered. No one knows if they're regulated, who can just take your money and leave, right? Because I'll give you a really interesting story myself, right? When I first started in the space, I didn't have anyone to teach me these things. I was learning by myself, right? I saw Binance, I saw Coinbase, I saw Kraken, and I said, you know what, these are things that people already know, so I will be the cool guy and just go to an exchange that no one knows. So I went to an exchange that no one knows. I inserted a small amount, 20 euro or 50 euro, and it just disappeared. Well, I lost my money because I was too smart, and I thought, I will, instead of going with the mainstream way, I'll just use a cool exchange. That cool exchange turned out to be a scam one, and and as I said, I would not recommend you to go to an exchange that no one knows. Just go to the ones that everyone knows, and they have much more to lose if they scam or take your money than an exchange that is small and no one knows, as I said again. Stacy asks, if you send money to the wrong address, is it lost? Yes, it is lost for forever, because on the blockchain the transactions are not reversible. Well, look, if it is a wrong address, certainly yes, it will be lost, because this is called burning a token. So basically you send it to the wrong address and it is how do you call it, lost for forever. Now, if you use an address of a friend of yours and you send them, they ask you for $10 and you send them by mistake $100 if they're a good friend, although of course the transactions are not reversible, they should return you the $90 back, right? But keep in mind that the transactions are not reversible. So if you send it to a wrong address, to a wrong person, a wrong amount, and they're not your friend, then they will not be obliged to send it to to send you the money back. Maybe you would have a leverage if it was in the same country, right? Because you can go to the authorities. But if you send the money from, let's say, the United States to someone in Japan, then it's much more difficult to get your money back, because you don't know the person, you don't know anyone in Japan. Even if you go to the US authorities, they will probably not be able to help you, right? So that's something that you should also take into consideration. Maybe one last question, if anyone has any.
Alex, I would like to say a couple words.
Okay, great.
So essentially, first of all, I wanted to say that one of our study group leads, Vic, actually has lost access to the Telegram group that he has created for his study group. So the group has just been completely deleted and we don't know what happened. It's really weird and maybe it was hacked, we don't know. But anyways, because if you could now write your Telegram handle in the chat, that would be great. So if there are any people here that are listening and who were part of Vika's Telegram group, please DM him on Telegram because he's going to create a new group. So you can then join that group. So yeah, we don't know what happened, but hopefully this was the first time it happened and it's not going to happen again. So if you were part of Vika's group, please DM Vikas on Telegram. And also, I see Saeed saying DM so if you were part of Vika's study group, then DM Vikas, and Vikas actually has just posted his Telegram handle in the chat. Also, if you are part of multiple study groups, I understand that maybe you wanted to check multiple of them out, but the thing is that you might not be able to actually join all of the study group meetings or be active in all of these study groups that you join, which is okay. So I just wanted to inform you that it's really important that if you now feel like, okay, I cannot actually dedicate my time to the study group or cannot join these study group meetings, please inform your study group lead and maybe leave the group as well, because it's important that the study group groups only have people and only have members in their groups that are actually active and are there because they want to participate in those groups. So that makes study group leads life much easier. Right. So that's it from my side. And don't forget to implement all the learnings that you've just gained through the session. Go ahead and create this Metamask wallet. If you haven't already, experiment with all the amazing Alex advice. Yeah. And Alex, I'll give the mic over to you to finish the session.
Thank you, Vaida. So I hope that you all, learned something new today in terms of how to manage your wallet, how to open a wallet. What I was also thinking, we still have 5 minutes to go. And if some of you have maybe 5 minutes extra, maybe me and Zach can also show how to transact. So he can basically send me a little bit of cryptocurrency in ETH, and I can send him back to him, like in a more practical way, so that you can also see how it basically works. Zach, I see you, so I see that you're here. Please, could you unmute yourself and briefly introduce yourself while I'm sharing my screen?
Yeah, it's a pleasure. First of all, congratulations to everybody for either starting or continuing your Web3 education. Really exciting. I was in your place over a year ago. And I just want to say that the industry is so young and so emerging that even within a year, you can become a leader in this area. So congratulations. And I look forward to seeing you all grow and work at new companies and start new companies or DAOs and collaborate with us here at Unit. So having said that, I'm also a co-founder at Unit. And I'm right now in charge of growing our city ecosystem, which I will talk to you more about as Unit Masters goes forward. But basically towards the middle to end of Unit Masters, I will be inviting you all to also join one of our city communities and really plug in to learn more about opportunities, hackathons, job offers, meetups, that kind of stuff. But going back to our MetaMask, I just want to say, as Alex is showing you, it's really, really simple and easy to send money. So Alex, I'll let you take it away.
Yes, so as we all guys saw, you can go and either copy the x87 on the clipboard and send it to Zach. Or I can go by, do this and take it here, or Zach could scan this QR code.
Let me just scan it actually.
Okay, so you will scan it instead.
So I can show you right here that I have my my MetaMask
Let me
open.
stop sharing maybe, and you can share your screen. Would that work?
I'm actually on my phone.
Okay.
So, but if I click on send, you can can you see here that there's a place for me to scan. So I'm just going to hit the scanner, which is just, you know, it's just going to show up and be looking for it. And I click on it, and right away, Alex's address is added. I can add this address to my book, which I'm going to do. And I'm just going to call it Alex unit. So I can just label it exactly how I want to call it. I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to hit next. And right away, it just asks me how much ETH do I want to send him, right? So it's quite simple. And I'm going to send Alex not 1 ETH, but hold on, 0.001 ETH. So I'm going to send Alex $1.
Okay, great.
And send. Transaction submitted. Waiting for confirmation. And I could have copy and pasted his number also right into MetaMask. But I actually like the QR code because there's no possibility of me making a mistake when I type it in, right?
And as you see here on my screen, I have $1.20. Zach, where are you located?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Okay, so you're not in New York anymore for the moment. So you're in the US, and I'm in Belgium, and you guys saw how quickly it took to send the money, like a few seconds instead of sending it days with a traditional bank, let's say.
I'd like to give an example, Alex. So a couple weeks ago, I had to send some money to Lithuania, and it literally cost me $40 and took I think 7 days, right? And that was just because we were doing old fiat transfers through the banks. And that one went smooth. Sometimes they'll stop it and they'll want to ask more questions or find out who's sending and why we're sending it. So it really is just solving a huge problem that we've had for a long time, right?
Indeed. And we will see if I can send the $1.20 back to Zach now. Depending on the gas fees. Let's see. So here, if you go from assets to activity, you can see also the activity to whom you send the money, from whom you have received the money. And here it says from, this is Zach's address, and this is mine. So what I can do is I can copy his address by just clicking on it. You see copied, right? Then I can go and say send. I'm not going to use the QR code. I'm going to use the other method so you can see both ways, right? You click send, you copy paste the address, it recognizes the address, and then you basically say, you know, how much do you want to send? Let's say max. Okay, not max, maybe because of the gas fees. So gas fees, let's say, think of them a little bit like the fee that you pay for banks as well, right? But instead of paying $40, you pay a few cents instead.
Yeah.
Confirm.
That's
Let's
something
say 30 cents here, as it says.
Yeah.
So here, instead of paying $40, I just pay 30 cents. I can pay a little bit more in order to speed it up. If I wanted to be sent even quicker than it was sent now, but I'm not going to do that. So you will see, yep, it's done, and it should probably have arrived to you, Zach, as well by now.
It already arrived. And
okay, great. See,
right there it is.
It takes so well. How do you call it? It's so quick, right? And another thing that you can also see, because I showed you the private key with the 12 words. You see here, there are just 10 cents. You can use the private key that I sent you, mine. I'm not going to use this address, to see that you can actually now get to this money. And if it was more, let's say if it was $100, if it was 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, you could just click send and send it to your address. So for you to understand that, the private key is very important, those 12 words. In some other wallets, it's 24 words are very important. Do not share them with anyone, because then they can get access to your money. If you learn, like, if there is only one thing that you take away from this, is never share those 12 or 24 words, depending on the wallet, with anyone else.
Yeah, I'd love to say two things quickly, Alex.
Yep.
One, I know when I first started, when I created my first wallet, and somebody was like, okay, send me whatever it was, 10 Solana. And so I put 10 Solana on, and then I went to send the 10 Solana, and it told me you couldn't do it because I didn't have enough to cover the gas fees. So it's important to remember, it's kind of like going to the bank, not the bank, going to the post office, you have to put stamps on it. So it's going to cost a little bit. So I would recommend, whenever you do start kind of sending, that make sure you always have just a little bit extra in your account that you're not really using, so that you always have gas fees to be able to send it. Because the last thing you want is like when you need to send something like today, and then suddenly you don't have it, and then you have to put more money onto your account, which also sometimes can take time. The other thing I was going to say was two more things. One, I don't know, we haven't done the unit network version of this, which is where you send tokens from one person to another, which also hold value, but that one has 0 gas fees, and it's also just as fast, right? And the other thing I was going to say was, all of these numbers for these accounts are soon to be exchanged for usernames, right? So what we're doing at Unit is we're going to implement UNS, right? So basically it's a unit username. So instead of sending to some long stream of numbers, if I wanted to send money to Ruben, I would just, if he was one of the first people, I would just put Ruben, right? So you'll actually have a name, kind of much similar to an email, which I think will help with mainstream adoption, right? So if I wanted to send to Joy Fajoku, I would just put her name in, and I would be able to send it straight to her wallet. So all of that is coming, and you can look up like ENS to see what Ethereum is doing with that and how that's progressing. Thank you, Alex. I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Zach. Well, there isn't anything else much to say, like just thank you for being here. I hope you learned something new today. And as I said, I wish you guys get your own wallets. You can play with it a bit to see how it works. If you have within, let's say, the classrooms as well, let's say you have a friend, send some money, receive some money, like a really small amount for you to see how it is done also in practice, but it is not very difficult. So I hope you learned something, and I wish you a good day and weekend as well.
Awesome.